background noise, but be that as it may. Anyways, let's get to the news. We have PCE inflation data that came out at 0.2%. It was expected at 0.1. So that's a bad number from whatever I can see here. It doesn't look good. So as of now, it's a bad number in the sense we were expecting a zero point 0.1. It turned up to be a 0.2. So it was versus 0.1. So that's not a good sign because you're looking at inflation maybe picking up and maybe Powell is right? Anyways, it's a short-term move. I don't really think there's going to be that much of a move on the equity indexes yet. Still looking good. Seeing 22,535, right? Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and put out the link on Twitter as well as on everywhere else. All of you guys can then come in. Make sure you guys go and vote. Make sure you guys also go in and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. So let me also put it up on my WhatsApp so everybody gets to know what the hell we're doing on live. Okay. What else do we have? Where's the goddamn link? Yeah. So 0.2 instead of 0.1. That's a bad one. Also, if anyone's new here, just please go ahead, subscribe, and just let me know if you can hear me clearly, as well as if you can you hear the music background. Otherwise, I'll change my place. And if you can see me clearly. So just drop into the stuff and let me know if you can in the chat. I'm just going to go over what happened with the market. With the data, it's not really that important, all said and done. But at the same time, you don't want it to be a negative at the end of the day, right? So, anyways, let me see if I can maybe sit down and then do this. This thing might be better. Yes. Okay. So yeah, that's that 0.2% instead of 0.1. So that's a bad number, all said and done. Inflation has picked up a bit. It was expected to be at 0.1. It's come in at 0.2. So uh, that's not a good sign. It is something that basically means that things are looking. We're going to go into it deeper. So I want to figure the market hasn't moved. It's at 22,530 itself. It's trading at the same levels. Few movers today, especially Trade Desk is up about 3%. It's got an upgrade by Evercore ISI. Nike is up about 10.5%. So that's a huge move in the market right now that you're seeing. 10.38% on Nike. So that's going to be crazy altogether. 69 on Nike. It closed yesterday at 62.54. So it's going to be a great day for Nike for sure. Let's see how the broader market performs. There's a poll that's there on the chat. So go ahead and put in the poll. It's basically what do you think PC's inflation print will mean for markets? Whether you get a big drop, whether you see a hot sell off. What do you see exactly? Do you see inline numbers? Do you see depends on Fed talk? What is it? Go ahead, put in the poll. Risky says, how's it going? I don't know what you're saying, bro, but if it's a good thing, it's a good thing, man. Anyways, everyone that's new here, go ahead, subscribe. I do these lives pretty often. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Can you see me clearly? That's all that I'm interested in. If you can hear me clearly, we're good to go. Let me get the inflation PCE report out. So we could get that out and then we could figure out what does it look like, right? Because you don't want to be in a scenario where the market is going to be tanking because inflation numbers have picked up. We need to see whether the Fed is able to hold on to its bargain of inflation. If it's able to say that it does not reduce the presence of cutting interest rates is what they're currently saying. Maybe with this print, it's not a great print, but it's not a bad print also, right? The market's taking it along with in stride, so it's okay. It's not too bad. At the moment, you're looking at 22,528 for the Nasdaq. Also about that's 84 points up. So we haven't really lost too much. We're still not losing ground. It's looking good at this moment. There's no reason to panic. Let's see how things move ahead, right? I mean, let me just go ahead and see if we have some more information on these data points. Traders see September rate to be for Fed rate cuts adds to bet Fed will cut 3 times in 2025. So 3 cuts in 2025 looks like it's going to be the scenario. PCE for May came in at 2.3. It's pretty much in line with expectations. They were expected to be at 0.1, but it's come at 0.2. So that's that. People's income, this is a bad one, has fallen 0.4% and spending has declined 0.1. Both are in current dollar terms. So I'm going to first go ahead and try getting the PCE report from the Bureau of Economic Analysis website. And let's try getting it in. So we are looking at spending dropping. Personal income has decreased 0.4% at a monthly rate. That wasn't what we were expecting. So we were expecting a positive 0.3% on personal income. We were expecting a positive 0.1 on personal spending. It's come in at a negative 0.1 for personal spending and a negative 0.4 on personal income. Not a good sign at all. Basically means that markets are looking like they are pricing in the fact that you are going to be seeing 3 rate cuts for the Fed, because you do need the market to now start to turn around and be like, hey, you know what? Core inflation rate has risen to 2.7% in May. So maybe Jerome Powell will have to possibly cut more as well, unless and until you do see inflation not coming down lower. So that's another thing that could be there under the picture. One thing to note is the Canadian GDP has also been negative this time. It was expected to be flat at 0.0. It's come in at negative 0.1%. So again, this just today's data has not been great. Let me just put it out there. It has not been good. Personal income dropping from positive 0.3 to negative 0.4 is not a good number at all. They've also revised, also do remember, so there's a certain difference here because the previous number that was at 0.8 has now been revised lower to 0.7. So that is okay. We can then figure out and see what's going to be happening there. That number's been revised lower. You also have the previous number. The personal spending has not been revised. So that's good. You're not seeing a number go down there crazily. At the moment, this is decent data in terms of, is the Fed going to cut because of this data? Does it make any difference? No. Does it make the Fed's job easier? Absolutely not. The Fed continues to be in a restrictive stance, and I think they're going to continue being that way because they don't seem to be having a reason to go in and cut at this moment. For everyone, let me just recap this. PCE came in at 2.3% YOY, was estimated at 2.3. PCE came in at 0.1 month on month, was estimated at 0.1. All good there. Core PCE came in at 2.7% YOY, was estimated at 2.6. And the estimate on core PCE month on month was 0.1, came in at 0.2. Personal income and personal spending are the two numbers that have been worse. They've not gotten better. So just keep that in mind because it's not something that's improving at this moment. Let's go ahead. Let's see what else is going on. There is one fascinating thing, that percentage of firms that are expecting their AI spending that has substantially increased. So much time has been spent thinking about the downside risk, rightfully, but the potential productivity boom should start to show up in S&P 500 results, right? At the moment, that's the one that I'm looking at. Anyways, let me try seeing if I can shift my position so you guys will find a better place to sit and work out of. You can then hear me more clearly. So just give me a few seconds. I'm just going to put the video off and shift to a better place. Yeah, okay, I think this is better. You guys should be able to hear me more clearly. Okay, just get over a few things what is pending to be done. Uh, Personal income has decreased about 0.4% at a monthly rate. So that is not a good sign, according to estimates released today by the US Bureau of Economic Analysis. Disposable income, that is personal income less personal current taxes, has decreased by 0.6%, and personal consumption expenditure has decreased by 0.1. Again, that's not a good sign. Personal outlays, that's the sum of PCE, has decreased 27.6 billion in May. Uh, Not too good. Anyways, the market seems undeterred by that. It's still trading at 22,521, 75 points higher. So that is currently the scenario that is going on with the market. It is pretty much there. It's not really done too much. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and see a few things. The bond market also has not moved. 4.257, so it's trading within the same range. There isn't so much that is currently happening with the bond market. It's looking like it's a decent move on the bond market. So markets haven't really moved that much at this moment. Uh, let's do one thing. Let's go ahead and maybe do this live closer to market open, or we can just continue with this if everyone's still here. Because what I'm trying to see right now is the fact that it has been a lackluster day in the indexes. The indexes haven't really moved that much. It's up about 70 points on the index. But let me tell you one thing, Nike is up about 11%, so that's having a huge move, 69.40 on Nike at the moment. So let's see how that plays out. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Bitcoin's not moved 106,749, so Bitcoin's been in that same range. That's been playing there itself. The dollar index 97.1, so again, not really moved that much. Yeah, I'm just going to go over some of the news that's been going on, so maybe we can get some of that information from there. Okay, core PCE inflation was positive 0.18 in May. 12-month core prices rose 2.7% from 2.6% in April, and April was revised up from an initially reported 2.5%. So headline prices rose 0.4. Anyways, basically the whole story being that 3-month annualized rate shows a larger drop to 1.7% in May because the very high February reading falls out. It's the lowest since December 2023. So traders see September start through Fed rate cuts, adds to bets that Fed will cut 3 times in 2025. So we are quite a scenario to see what happens here exactly with the indexes by the time we close, especially with the effect of the Fed rate cuts that are currently being priced into the market. Uh, Europe says it will buy more American weapons and pave way for the trade deal. And of course, if we buy more American, that means then the trade relations rebalance. Then that's the reason, because I've said always that we cannot separate these two negotiations about defense, as it was the most important issue for the United States and it is already solved. So maybe the EU US trade deal is going to be going through pretty soon. Mm, let's see what happens. Right. So Neil Kashkari, who was basically a Minneapolis Fed president, has come out and said that he kept 2 cuts in his June SEP as better news on inflation offset higher than expected tariffs announced in March. So that gave him an ability to cut, is what he's saying. It implies a possible first cut in September, barring some surprising development before then. Okay. If Fed cuts in September and tariff effect shows up later, could pause rate cuts. I continue to expect 2 cuts in 2025 with possible first cut in September. Hmm. So we're now maybe penciling in possibly a September rate cut. That's what's looking more likely at this moment. It does seem the case that that is the one that's going to go through. He says that if the Fed cuts in September and tariff effect shows up, they'll pause the rate cuts, and that will basically be the end of your story of rate cuts for a while. So at least he's open to the fact of cutting and pausing as well. It's not something that most people are currently okay with at this given moment, is what I would say. Mm, let's see. Besant says he could have trade wrapped up by Labor Day. That's a very bullish statement to say that, right? I think we could have trade wrapped up by Labor Day. If that does happen, that's going to be a very bullish sentiment that's going to come through for the market. Nike CEO says there are signs of progress. I've been here now 8 months, and I'm even more convinced that the path back to sustainable, profitable growth is through our win now actions and now implementing our sport of heads. We're seeing signals that these actions are working, which is why Nike is up about 10% as of when I saw it last. Let me actually go check. 11.16% up on Nike. Nike's almost at $70. This thing was trading at 52 exactly April. So if this thing actually does reverse, it could reverse quite a bit. I would say it would be on its way to pretty much going towards the 83 to 85 levels. Breaking out from there, it could head towards the 120. So keep Nike on your radar because it could be having a big move. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see if there's anything more that's coming through. Yeah, this thing now, Nike being up about 11% is basically just doing it. So the fact that the market reversed after his speech, after his commentary, was purely because of the fact that he said that our financials are in line with our expectations, but they are nowhere where we want them to be. Moving forward, we expect our business to improve. That just took Nike all the way up about 10, 11% eventually to pre open, which is now about 11%. So, uh, let's see. Besant says we will see if China wants to be a reasonable partner. We don't want to decouple from China. Uh, US Secretary Besant also says that now our tariffs are 30% on China. Theirs are 10% on us. So a lot of people were expecting a 55% tariff on China. I don't think that's a 55 anymore. It's a 30 because Besant's clearly come out and said that our tariffs are 30% on China. Theirs are 10% on us. So Besant on August 12 tariff date going to be up to the Chinese. Think we can keep this de-escalation under control. So that basically is going to be taking the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 to pretty much days high eventually, right? I mean, we're pretty close. Like we're down about 50 points from the top. The top was about 570 on the Nasdaq. We're at 519 now. So I'm going to keep a watch on this. I only started this live about 30 minutes earlier than usual because of the PCE index. I wanted to see what the inflation data does, what kind of an effect it has. It has had no effect on the market. So this is Renmac, who's come out and said that it's hard to get a sense for where things stand as consumers adjust behavior around tariff announcements. But so far this year, 5 months ending in May, real consumer spending excluding healthcare has declined 1.1%. So that's never a good sign when that happens. So that means things they're slowly weakening. It's not like a sudden collapse. Remember, things happen slowly and then everything happens together. But as of now, it does look like we will survive, right? Knowledge flow says hi buddy, how's it going? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and see for some more news that's coming out. Elon Musk says Grok 4 coming right after July 4th. So that's the new AI one that they have there. Confident China magnets will flow. Mm, Besant also says 20% fentanyl tariffs on China remain in place. So that's actually a 50% tariff then in all, right? Agreement with China will allow magnets to flow to everyone who received them before on a regular basis. Okay. Besant says this is a de-escalation, confident that magnets will flow in China-US deal. So that's he was basically on Fox Business talking about this. So that's actually working in the favor of the markets. The markets actually like what he's saying. So that is one good thing. Okay, let me go ahead and try seeing if I can get some more information on the markets before we open. So maybe we could get something. I want to see if Besant's been saying anything else about the market. If he has been, then that would be actually fascinating to see. If anything has been done on that front, because that would basically mean that the US China trade deal is pretty much done and dusted because that's what the market's already discounted. Okay. The market's at the moment not discounting that there are going to be new trade deals. They're discounting the fact that all trade deals are done. Currently, that's the price that is currently going on for uh, the market at this moment. Hmm. So Compass Point has gone in and raised Robinhood's guidance. It's moved from 64 to $96. They've upgraded themselves. Let's look at what's happening with Robinhood. Should be up another. Sean says hello, 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 Sean. How's it going? Robinhood is currently flat in pre-market, but it's been on a rally, right? I mean, the month it's up about 27%, so that's huge. What else is going on? Trade desk up about 4%, so that's been a good move altogether. Mm, let's see what else is currently going on. This is good news. So apparently, Trump had tweeted out. I mean, we were reading it yesterday on live, where he wanted to get away with the Benjamin Netanyahu trial that was currently going on. So, just an update to that: Israeli court has rejected Netanyahu's request to postpone testimony in his corruption trial. Basically means that to some extent, some form of democracy still works. Mm, let me see what's happening with Nvidia. It's been hitting new highs on a daily basis. So let's see if today's another day. Yes, it is up 0.52 again, 155.83. So we're going to be hitting a new high on Nvidia again today. So that's great. For everyone that's joining new, just let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. That will be very helpful to me, please. Thank you so much. And if you're new here and don't know what's going on, subscribe and join in live. You'll learn a lot about the markets and make some money on the way as well. And if you don't make money, then question yourself. But anyways, let me get to this. Go ahead and watch some of the videos that we've been putting. They're about 5 minutes long. Real estate versus stocks. Why you being poor? Why you not being rich? Few things that you can change and make yourself realize that there's more to this if you just think longer term rather than thinking exceedingly short term. Anyways, Nike's trading up about 11% pre-market on earnings. If gains hold, this would be the strongest earnings day since it gained 12% on in 2022. So here's what it is at pre-market on its price chart. So it is actually looking very good for Nike. Do remember the guy did come out and clearly say Elliot Hill. I've been saying this before as well that it does look like he is able to turn this company around. And if he is able to turn this company around, we're just at the start of what's going to be happening. We haven't even barely touched the surface, barely touched the surface. So there's a lot of money to be made in this trade. Stick around, stay invested, and keep following our live. So subscribe and then hit that notification because whenever I do go live, you'll get a notification. Otherwise, there's no way of me letting you know that I'm live. Right. So do that bit. Okay, let's see. Currently, Christopher Waller has been leading to become the next Fed chair. I would say that's a better choice than Kevin Walsh. He's a little bit more in the news, in the current data. He's not thinking too far ahead, right? The S&P 500 is 3 points away from a new all-time high as of yesterday. It is pretty much going to be going there today. Mm, let's go ahead and see what is currently going on. Mm, yeah, 6208 as of now on the E-mini S&P 500. So you are going to be looking at it opening at a record high. Nike also says that new tariffs will add 1 billion in costs, in tariff costs. So that's going to be front loaded in the first half, and in the second half it's going to get better. Remember, Nike spends 10 times more in marketing spend than all their other competitors spend. So they spend about $4 billion a year. They're the only company that makes about 46 to $50 billion in sales. So that's a lot of money for a company like Nike. Do remember that if they're able to obviously move their advertisements in a better way, obviously they're the easiest ones to deal with Chinese tariffs. Their current Chinese production is 16%. Elliot Hill on his conference call came out and said that it's going to be in the single digits. Next quarter's revenue was expected to decline by 7 to 8% by analysts. Nike saying they're going to be hitting this mid single digit range, which is 5%. Between 4 and 6 is what I would say. So it's not 7, so it's better than 7, which is why the stock is climbing. Nike used to trade at $170. If I'm not mistaken, it used to trade at 17, either 140 or 170. Anyways, I'll get that chart open. It used to trade at 179. So I was right, at $180 per share. At the moment, the price is trading at about 69.49. So all in all, it does look like we're going to see a great day on Nike. So we've been saying this since a while as well. It's not something new. We've been saying it since quite a while that hey, go ahead and keep a watch on Nike because it does look like it's going to be heading higher and higher. It did look like it was going to recover from its numbers as well and get better. But let's see at this moment. Let's keep things going. Okay. Mm, let's get some more of this news that's going on. Nike's been the one that's gone crazy. I'm just going over all of the other stocks to see if anything's gone a little bit crazy like Nike. We have Amazon up about 1.42%. It was up 2.42% as of yesterday's close. It's up another 1 point. I think we're going to be getting a very good S&P 500 and Nasdaq close for the week. So that's going to be good news. Mm, let me go see what else is currently going on. Is there anything else that is currently any other stock that's currently flying too high? Mm, Intel's up about a percent. Lululemon's up about 1.48%. Lululemon had literally cratered from 423 all the way down to like 230. That's because they had their issues that were anyways going on, and now they seem to be solving it with these China tariffs being taken off. A trade deal with Vietnam is going to be very beneficial again to Nike, so that's going to make prices go higher. Triple digit Nike is not too tough to see this year. It could get back to 100, 110, maybe even higher. So that's my bet on Nike. I'm long, so I'm biased. Palantir's up another percent. So we are seeing momentum trading going like crazy. It is something that is happening. Trade Desk up about 4%. Evercore. Yesterday we had Wells Fargo that came in and downgraded Trade Desk from overweight to equal weight. Stock went down 2.5%. Today we have Evercore ISI coming out and putting an overweight on Trade Desk. So the stock's up right now about 4% in pre-market. It's going to head back to its $70.70. So 70.71 cents right now. Let's see if it's able to take out its previous level at 72.88, which was yesterday's high, day before yesterday's high. It could start heading back to $80 and higher. Okay, so that's an update on the Nasdaq. Do we have anything that we have from anywhere else? So Novo Nordisk is up about 1.67, 1.7%, nothing too fancy. Okay, I'm just gonna try seeing if I can find something. Your Nike is the S&P 500's best performing stock as of today, 10.98% higher. Deckers is up, obviously because Nike's up. Lululemon's up purely because Nike's up. So it's like a bellwether. It's taking up most of these shoe companies that are there or apparel companies that pretty much try doing what Nike's doing. That's currently going on. Anyways, China's battery maker behemoth CATL is making waves in the electric vehicle market. Did you guys go and have a look at the Xiaomi car that came out? Just absolutely incredible. They got 280,000 orders in a few hours. So it's said to be a Tesla killer. Let's see how much of that actually happens. For 10 straight years, the S&P 500 has gained in July. So most likely it should in July again, right? July is the best month for stocks in post-election years. Another gain in July would tie the longest win streak for the month, backdated 1950 all the way to 1958. So that is saying something. Euro extends its gains against the US dollar. So there is something that I'm going to look at, the Euro USD. I want to see what is currently going on. 1.174. When did we see these levels back for the Euro USD? From what I can see, we were at 1.02 exactly at the start of February. So the euro against the dollar has gained 17%. So that's a lot of move in just this same simple year, right? I think we can see a 120 US dollar euro USD again before we see some form of a move lower again. At the moment, my bet would be a $1.20 on euro USD is coming. Mm, let's also see what else is currently going on. Mm, I'm just trying to read this and see if anything's going to work around this, and I can let you guys know. But at the moment, federal judges have ruled this week that Meta and Anthropic can legally train AI models on copyrighted books under fair use. So Anthropic must face allegations it used a pirated library of 7 million books without permission. So I'm not sure if that's going to actually go through. Sean's asking us, would all tech stocks head higher this rally? They've already headed higher. I would expect some form of a pullback eventually. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen someday. But will it head higher for now? There is momentum on the side. And remember one thing, I've seen this in bull markets over the years, over decades as well. In bull markets, do not fight momentum. You don't know when that fall will happen. We could be going up 10% higher from your in momentum buying before we actually go lower. So it takes a very long time before you actually realize when is it that the momentum has ended. It's not something that happens just in a few weeks or in a few days. It takes a really long time for momentum to die out. And right now we are in those momentum pushes. The simple example for you to look at is look at IPOs and the way they've performed. They've just been on one way all the way, completely running upwards. So that is something that's just been going on. So momentum is winning. Remember, the S&P 500 is up a few percent for the year, while the momentum index and the momentum ETF is up about 16% for the year. And these are the same stocks, right? But it's just the momentum stocks that keep getting added into the MTUM. Check it out. It's called MTUM on whatever portal you want to use. Okay, let me get this question. If the war in Russia and Ukraine ends, you think more rally? I think you will see a commodity fall, which can cause equities to rally, but the larger play would be on commodities becoming cheaper and inflation going lower, which means the Fed cuts more. If that happens, that also means that you're going to eventually see equities go higher. So that's the correlation that works around. The correlation here is not related to simply how is it that the war is going to help out. It's more related to how is the commodity prices going to eventually cause lower inflation, which will cause you to now eventually get to some form of rate cutting cycle that we will be in. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. But I do believe that the war in Ukraine, if it is able to kill itself, eventually break out and collapse with whatever Trump or whomsoever solves it. I don't know who will, but whoever solves it, if that's able to happen faster than most people imagine, commodities will fall. With the commodity market coming lower, inflation would come lower and resulting in rate cuts, right? It could even, to some extent, if prices do fall, companies do enter to take on more risk. They do hire more. You will see employment picking up to a certain extent. So you will go back to something called as a Goldilocks economy. And in a Goldilocks economy, you will see tech outperforming everything else because the current two letters that make everybody go crazy is A and I, right? So at this moment, that's what's going to be happening. Yes, we got a downgrade on Uber. So let me just go ahead and check what's happening with Uber. We got about 23 minutes before the market opens. So let's see. Okay, Uber's down only 0.43%. It's pretty much trading at all-time highs. So Uber's been on a phenomenal rally all the way from the 58, $60 levels to now at about 93. We got one more question. Also, if dollar picks up more rally right to the upside, not necessary. You know what? America is a services economy. A lot of people need to realize this that the biggest tech companies in America sell their services globally, and a lot of money is made outside America by selling it to emerging markets, selling it to Europe, selling it to the Middle East, selling it to African countries, selling it to Latin America, and they earn in those particular currencies. So when they repatriate that money back, they're able to make more from an earnings perspective just because of foreign exchange gains. Do remember that the dollar had been very strong for the past, let's say, 2024 towards the end as well as the beginning of 2024. So you've had a big rally because of which people would have a QOQ, which means a quarter on quarter and a year on year comparison, which will be very beneficial because now you will have 3 to 4 percentage points increments just because of foreign exchange headwinds, which were in the guide, which will now become a tailwind. So that is something to keep in mind because you're going to start seeing that play out a lot more than usual, right? Okay, for everyone that's not voted yet, please go ahead and vote. I want to see what at the end of the market open, what exactly do we decide? The question is, what do you think about PCE inflation print will mean for the markets? Will there be a big drop in the inflation rate, which eventually will end up into a rally? We did see the inflation rate come in higher, so which means that if you're going to be seeing it higher, you should see a sell-off. But at this moment, we are expecting rate cuts to be coming in. So pretty much walk through this section. Yes, we're down about 70 points from the high for the Nasdaq, but this is all pre-market. We still need market to open and see what's currently going to be happening. We have fallen about 80 points, which is about 0.5% on an average, 0.4 to 0.8%. So 22,570 is now down to 22,492. It is an exceedingly, I would say it's a very good thing that we do get intraday pullbacks because that is going to lead to us going higher. Prices would go higher. You're going to pretty much end the month today, right? So you're going to get a monthly ending candle. Actually, you have a day of trading on Monday also, but today would necessarily pretty much write off the fact that June has been a positive month if we're able to close in the green. At the moment, we're still going to be opening 48 points higher. So go ahead and vote. Make sure I want to see what the vote does. And for everyone that's new here, go ahead and subscribe as well. You'll get a notification when I go live. Okay. Most stocks in the green. I don't really see anything that's been crazy at this moment. Nothing looks like it's going to be falling badly. It'd be interesting to see what happens to the Russell 2000. I'm actually expecting the Russell 2000 to be one of the best performing indexes in the latter half, the next 6 months, which is July 1st to December 31st. I actually do feel that that's going to be a pretty good, interesting place to look for opportunities. Again, it's just the way I think. It's not necessarily the right way to do things, but it's the way I think. Crypto is still at 106,795, so it's been trading there in that range. Gold is down about 2%. So 3264. There's been massive speculations going on in gold. Gold's taken a beating from 3,500 down to 3264, down about 6%, not too much. but still lower. So silver's down a percent and 83 points, so 1.83% down on silver. Platinum down about 6.41. So platinum has rallied all the way from 900 to about 1322. So let's see what happens here. Hmm. As you're going to be seeing equity markets pick up and keep breaking new highs and keep going higher, we've been saying this, equity bull markets, remember, are not a ceiling. They break out and they keep going higher from there. So at the moment, do realize that when you're seeing these kind of moves happen, momentum pick up, you will see a sell off in gold, you will see a sell off in silver. These are things that are bound to happen. It's not rocket science. It's easier for you to understand it now than later. Let me go see if we have some more data. US equity futures currently trading in recent record territory this morning as optimism over better trade relations between the US and China is giving investors pretty much another excuse to get into stocks. That's what I've come to the conclusion with. Uh, Microsoft's next AI chip is facing about a 6-month delay. Chips are taking much longer to design than expected, which could make them even less competition with NVIDIA by the time they enter production. So that's just more bullish for NVIDIA. Let me just go ahead and see if this news has affected NVIDIA. NVIDIA is still up about 0.5%. So yes, it's up about 76 cents, about 0.5%. So that's still doing pretty well at this moment. What are we seeing in other moves? Yesterday we had another big move on Chime, the IPO. It went up another 5%, so it's trading at about $33. If we're able to break the 33.50 level, I think we should start seeing 35, 36, and 38. If we're able to break 38, guys, I think we will head back to its previous high of 44, 45. So 38 is the vital number to keep looking at. Who knows? Remember, it's a momentum game. If momentum's on its side, anything could happen. Right. This was a stock that had IPO'd at 44 and uh, basically 44 is now come down, opened at basically 27. 27, sorry, 27 opened all the way at 44. 44 came all the way back down to 28. Now it's trading at about 33, so it's up about 15% from its lows. It is still 35% away from its all-time high, so which was made about 15 days back. So it's not too much for it to just move up. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. Should be an interesting day. At the moment, you are seeing some form of a downdraft on the indexes, but nothing to be that worried about. Anyways, everything else looking good at this moment. Let me see what else do we have here. US income and spending declined sharply. French inflation ticks up as ECB weighs next steps. Nike jumps on earnings. I'm just trying to see if we get some more information about what's currently going on. Make sure all of you guys that are new here, go ahead and vote. You have a question right in front of your screen, vote. Bottom right, you should see subscribe. Do that bit as well. You're not going to lose anything by doing that. So you can join me for the live and you will make some money on the way. We're going to be getting two FOMC members speaking today. We're going to be getting FOMC member Cook and FOMC member Hammett speaking today. So that'll be interesting to see. We are also at 10 p.m. going to be getting the revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Another one to keep a watch on is usually being a number that was causing a lot of disharmony back in the day during the tariff scenario. No more does it affect us that much, but there's no harm in keeping a watch on it. All right. We are aiming to get to our 200 subscribers, so everyone is going to be helpful in basically helping us get there. At this moment, we are at 166. Okay, cool, great. Let me go ahead and see what else is happening. Here's a fascinating thing. This is something that I was actually thinking about. What I want people to start thinking of is the fact that momentum trading does not mean buying the stuff that is going up just because you need to sell it tomorrow. What it means is catching the strongest stocks in the market and profiting from them while their move higher is ongoing. It's not that you go and find the stock that's had its best day yesterday, so it's going to have its best day tomorrow. So don't expect that to be the way to try making money. It usually doesn't work. You have to be really, really lucky to do those kind of things. And if you can keep luck away from you in this kind of a market, you will make a lot of money. Keep that in mind. Uh, you want luck to basically play a part in this game in a way wherein it additionally helps you with the hard work that you put in any which ways. Not as something where you are leaving everything to luck because you want to trade for a weekly or a monthly or a bi-weekly or a quarterly basis. Make trades for a 9 month, 1 year, 2 year basis and make investments for 3 to 5 years at bare minimum and give a shot at it and let it grow on and see what happens after 3 to 5 years. If the company is still doing well, earnings are growing, eventually stock prices always follow earnings. Please remember that. Stock prices always follow earnings. There is no other way of me trying to explain this to you guys. Go and look at an EPS line, which is the earnings per share line, and go ahead and look at the stock price line. You might have bouts where it'll head lower and then come back here, or it'll head higher and then come back again to this line. Eventually, you'll realize that this is an earnings line, and if you smoothen the price line, eventually it will align. So it's not rocket science to understand that, which is why I keep saying look for companies that are going to grow. And those that keep growing, eventually your stock price will keep growing. That's the name of the game. So dollar currently is still pretty much leaking versus all European currencies, but it's more mixed elsewhere because of the Section 899 news. It was apparently a foreigner revenge tax that was there, and news about a China trade deal has failed to have really much impact on the US dollar. So it's not really done enormously well. But let's see. At this moment, I would still be pretty congruent about the fact that the USD is not strengthening. Right. The only places I see it strengthening are against the Thai baht, but that's because the Thai economy is pretty much in a tailspin because of what's currently happening with their leaders. Right. There's nothing great that's going on there. Most likely, the Prime Minister of Thailand might be impeached or whatever happens there in terms of impeachment or something else. Eventually, going to be leading to a bad scenario there. Yeah, let me just go ahead and try seeing if I can 22, so we're 50 points up on the Nasdaq, so nothing too fancy. 16.28 on the volatility index, guys. It is below the June lows of 16 that we had. We're broken that lower as of today and yesterday. The last time we were at these levels was somewhere around February 2025. So that is like ages ago, if you actually think about it, because a lot has happened since then and today. Okay. I'm just trying to see if we have something more going on here. That'll be fun to actually. We got less than 10 minutes more for the market to open, so I'm going to keep a watch on what's happening with that. Volatility index still at 16.25. Nike is S&P 500's best performer, up about 10.5%. So that's that, right? I mean, there is so much of a move that's currently happening with Nike. It's just crazy. A lot of people had written it off because they started seeing everybody wearing on shoes and Hoka and Deckers and everything else. But remember, none of them compare even close to the sales potential of Nike. Nike's been doing 46 billion US dollars in sales. I keep saying this back and again. Go and look at the marketing spend of an On. Go and look at the marketing spend of an Hoka. Nike is 10 times bigger. 10 times bigger. That basically what I'm saying is if they're all spending 400 million, Nike currently spends 4 billion on marketing. 4 billion on marketing, right? So before you write out great companies, you should sometimes go back and check as to whether there are some ways in which we can adjust to figure out if there is a move that can happen on such stocks. Because on these kind of days when the rates do come in and you are able to see the ticker up about 10.5%, you realize that a large part of the rally is what you've missed out. Again, my bet would be we're going to see 100 this year on Nike, at least 90, right? Between the 88, 89 numbers, we could be heading there by maybe December, if not earlier. So let's say Chinese stocks have pretty much been dead. I don't know. Is Xiaomi listed? Okay, it's listed on the Hong Kong exchange. As of 5th August 2024, it used to trade at $15. As of today, it trades at 58.95. They had a killer car that came out. So they got about, let me actually get this data. It's basically considered a Tesla killer. Mm, it's called the YU7 Tempest. They had 289,000 people applying to buy the car in a few hours. So that's that. Anyways, it's a listed stock. The ticker is 1810. They're listed in Hong Kong. So Chinese EV looks awesome, but there's a big safety risk. It's just going to be a risk for the 280,000 that are buying it, not for everyone else. Would I have bought it over a Tesla? No. But I guess some people like it. This is another company called NIO, right? NIO. They have this battery changing technology, which is said to be like phenomenal. And that's great. But the thing is, the stock hasn't even done well. I used to look at NIO, NIO. Stock used to be at like $4 something. It's at $3.42. It's just been languishing there, right? I saw them in Abu Dhabi. They set up a new retail shop out there in order to sell their cars. Nothing too fascinating about it. I mean, it did look like a normal car to me, other than the battery exchanging technology. That being said, I mean, fair enough. It is what it is. Okay, let's see. Maybe Chime might just be something that actually goes to its new high of 45. Who knows? Maybe that's the thing that happens. Right? I don't know about it. I'm just guessing that it might. I think if we can get a 41 or something, we should see $50 pretty much coming through pretty quickly. We still have 3 days, about a day of trading on Monday before the month closes. So maybe Chime reverses. Look at a lot of the stocks. Let me see what's up with Circle and CoreWeave. CoreWeave was apparently supposed to be buying another company out. Circle's up about 4.25%. So Circle's been flying again. It had collapsed all the way from 297, if collapse is the word in this, 297 down to 198. 198 is back to 223. Let's look at CoreWeave. CoreWeave was basically going to be going out and buying a company whose stock was basically up 30%. But as of now, you are looking at CoreWeave up about, what's it, 1.53%. Okay. should get the market open in about 3.5 minutes to go. So it'll be pretty interesting. So two FOMC members. Let me see if I have some news on them. The only thing that I didn't like in today's data was the fact that personal income fell 0.4% in May and disposable personal income fell 0.5%. It's largely reflecting a plunge in social security payments, right? I mean, obviously, those were boosted due to large retroactive payments done earlier this year because a lot of people were taking the severance package and bouncing. So, income from wages and salaries for private sector workers has risen about 0.4%. So, it's not really a bad data point, but it's not like the data is getting better, is what I would say. At least one good thing that I did see was with the unemployment claims, the data did get better. So, with this one, it's not really happening. Mm. Oh, apparently Israel forces launched a series of airstrikes targeting Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. Okay, okay. I don't really think the market cares about any of this Hezbollah stuff that's going on or the Lebanon stuff that's going on. They were more worried about Iran because they could shut down the Strait of Hormuz. None of the other stuff seems like a worry at this moment. Nasdaq should be opening about 49 to 50 points in the green, way lower than where we were at. We were at 22,570. We're going to be opening at 22,492. So that's going to be about, let's say, 50 points up. Anyways, my job is to now shut down the poll. So let's do that. Mm, yep. So I think the poll has ended, and most people have stuck to the concept that the markets will continue to rally. Few people said that okay, it's pretty much in line, so that's that, and then a few of them said that it's going to be Fed talk based. At the moment, it looks like it's another normal day in the market. Just another normal day. Yeah, we should be opening in about 30 seconds. I just want to go and see what the opening tickers look like. And then we can take a call as to what's currently going on. And depending on that, we can move ahead and see. Okay, we should be opening. Nike's opened up about 11.93%. So we have seen $70 being taken out on Nike. 12.3, 12.2. Let's see, there must be a lot of pent up demand to get back into Nike. So that actually might play out. Chime, we were expecting a move closer to 1% higher. That didn't work out. Let me go ahead and see what else is happening. 3% higher on the trade desk. That is up 3.19. That's because Evercore ISI came out with pretty much an upgrade. So you're seeing that happen. Let's keep a watch on this. Coupang's up another 1.92%. South Korean Kospi index is pretty much been the one that's been flying. So that is currently, it's been, I think, the best performing global index. Okay, let's just go ahead and see a few things. 13% up on Nike. 0.72 down on Chime, 2.5, 2.6 up on Coupang, 3% up on Trade Desk. Let me see if there's anything more. Amazon up about 1.73, so that's doing well. ARM is up about 2.5. Mm, what else is going on? What else is going on? 2.59 there. Warner Brothers up about 1.26. So it's been a good open for the market. We're still pretty much holding the levels at 22,490. So that's currently still holding on. So let's see how that plays out. Let's see how the market closes towards the end of market closing. As of now, Nike is up about 14.17%. So that's 71.35. It is going to be hitting some form of resistance at their 200-day on the daily. Oh, yeah, not on the daily, sorry. It was on the, yeah, on the daily, yeah. Right. On the daily. It's basically closing a gap. It's gone on to hit 71.70. So a clear break from your heading towards 74, 75, and I would say break above 75 would be a move that takes us a lot higher. I'm not sure if we're going to get that today, but possible one. Who knows? Because there's been so much of bearish news on Nike over the past year and a half, 2 years, that now that this news has come out, you could very well be on your way to looking at a lot of people coming back in to buy Nike. Again, at the moment, 13%. There'll be a lot of day trading that's going on as well. So it's just part of the way things work. Starbucks flat, Disney flat. Reddit's down about 2%. I think that's got something to do with the notice on what currently happened with Anthropic, where they said it was a form of fair use. So Meta and Anthropic could continue whatever they were trying to do. Okay. What would be interesting is to see how the close on Nike happens for the day. Right. That would be more interesting than anything else. Just to see whether we are seeing a sustained bull market in terms of a recovery of a turnaround. Because this very well could be a turnaround stock on its way to going back to its previous glories. I'm not saying you're going to be seeing 179, but I think you should be able to see 110, 120 on Nike this year, next year, quite possible. You should start seeing these moves move higher and higher. It is turning. I mean, Nike is a stock that, as of few weeks back, was back to October 2017 lows, right? So, in a way, it is worth looking into to basically figure out the fact that maybe sometimes it is not that there's just the issue with the company. Sometimes it can be converted, it can be turned. Look at Disney, right? I mean, it was down all the way to 78, now trading at 121. So it is moving higher as well. Okay, so anyways, we're pretty much 55 points up on the Nasdaq, 15 points up on the S&P. The S&P 500 has hit an all-time high as of today. So that is good news. What else are we seeing? I'm not sure if Elliot Hill is going to be coming on CNBC to talk, but let's see if that happens. Maybe the stock has a bigger pump. Could maybe see a 20% move also. It's not out of the ordinary to see that. There is a lot of pent up demand that has to come in. That is something that I do agree with. Anyways, so we're going to call it a day today. And for the week, if anything happens over the weekend, hopefully nothing happens. No Middle Eastern tensions, nothing happens. We all can have a peaceful weekend. We will be back on Monday. And till then, enjoy your weekend. Have fun. Happy Friday. If there is something worthwhile, I will come out and do a live post market. So make sure you guys subscribe and you will get a notification every time I go live. Great. Appreciate everyone coming in. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day.